Hello and welcome to Story Skeptic. There are plenty of villains in Spider-Man No Way Home. A big favorite of mine is Dr. Ock, and there's this amazing fight between him and Spider-Man at the bridge. That was really entertaining in the cinema. The film is, for my taste, a bit gimmicky and very similar to Into the Spider-Verse, but nonetheless, I thought this was a fantastic film, especially if you're a fanboy like me. Anyways, there will be spoilers for the entire film, so go and watch it and come back for this. There's your warning in 3, 2... So, as you know, this plot is basically about Peter Parker, who wants to make everyone forget he's Spider-Man, so his friends will be accepted at MIT. He goes to Doctor Strange for help, and they fuck up the spell, which causes the multiverse to glitch, and villains from other universes find their way into this one.
Did it work?
Namely, the Lizard, Dr. Ock, the Green Goblin, Sandman, and Electro. And that's a lot of villains, but all of these are handled in a good way. But who is the best? Let's take a quick look at them. Firstly, we have the Green Lizard, a monstrous villain who is like so primal and can just like snap Spider-Man in half. He's a really grisly one, and as always, his other self is also a doctor. I really liked this villain. I think he had a lot more potential, like in the design and where he lives in the sewers. I think they could have used that a lot more. And then we have Sandman, and it's a bit the same with the Lizard. This one didn't really get enough time to shine because the studios wanted Sam Raimi to have other villains as well, but he really has the potential anyways. Then we have the Green Goblin, which is just a classic Spider-Man villain, really switching between good and bad. It has a funny looking costume, but it works. And then we have my personal favorite, Dr. Ock. I just think he's one of the best Spider-Man villains with his mechanical arms, and he's a scientist that really works hard for something good, and he's just stealing like money to make it possible. And he's also the mentor character for Spider-Man. Then at last we have Electro, who can be so devastating with his powers, and he's a really deadly villain, Electro, and I really love Jamie Foxx portraying him. And I think there's no point in dragging this out, because the best villain in No Way Home is the Green Goblin. He steals all the scenes he's in, and the filmmakers clearly want him to be the main villain by having him kill Aunt May, and by putting him at the very end on his own to be the last climactic battle for our Spider-Man. So he is obviously the big bad. But what is more interesting to me is why all of these 5 villains are the main villains of their own movies. All of them could have been the main villain in No Way Home. So you might be thinking then, why is the Green Goblin the one they chose? And I think there's several reasons to this. One of them is probably being that he's the first villain we see in the original Spider-Man movies, and he's just quite iconic and evil. The last part, the evil, is the biggest one to know, but more on that later. I think all of this is shown in a great scene, a scene in the very middle of the movie, and it happens to be my favorite scene in the movie. And here are the secrets of why the Green Goblin is the perfect main villain in this movie. As you might know, the middle of a movie is at most times a very pivotal sequence, scene, or even a single moment. Often something will change, the hero experiences a defeat that leaves him in the worst situation so far. Everything will seem dark, and that's exactly what we get in No Way Home. Here's a bit of context before that scene. Spider-Man has managed to track all the villains down and have gotten them to cooperate. Doc Ock he had to force with him, which is a great little trick. Making Dr. Octavius look like the most aggressive and difficult villain up to this point puts all our focus on him. At this moment he has just been cured of his bionic arms, and Spider-Man's plan is working. Everything is going well. Then, right in the middle of the film, we get this shift in tone. The scene begins with the Lizard locked up in a van creepily saying,
"And so it begins."
Spider-Man gets his spider senses going off. Something is clearly wrong. He leaves his work and tries to find out what's going on. He webs the Green Goblin stuck to the window, and it's revealed that the other self, the evil one, is in control. This reveal works nicely since the Green Goblin up to this point seems to be lost, confused, and kind of his normal self before he became the Green Goblin. A nice, bright scientist.
You know, I'm something of a scientist myself.
He's the one who gives the least amount of resistance, and he seems harmless. And here we get some dramatic irony, because we, the audience, we know that he's about to change. We've seen an entire movie of him jumping between evil and good.
You killed them.
We killed them.
We?
Remember your little accident in the laboratory?
Performance enhancers.
Bingo. Me, your greatest creation.
So we know he jumps between his two different personalities. To this point he's been an ally, but at this moment he becomes an enemy. More crucially, he becomes the movie's dilemma, which is, can you cure evil? And that's the whole stick of this movie. Spider-Man wants to fix all the bad guys because he knows if he sends them back, they will get killed in their other universes. And this goal for Spider-Man stems from Aunt May, who tells him clearly,
look around you. This is what we do. We help people.
And yeah, this is his goal. It is his truth, and he believes it so much that he's willing to fight against Doctor Strange and leave him trapped in a mirror world. On the other hand, Green Goblin is the biggest enemy of this goal. And here my favorite scene really kicks off. It's an X-minute fight scene where evil is on display, and I love it. The Green Goblin convinces the other villains to not go through with it, and at the last moment he succeeds. All the villains escape, and the Green Goblin attacks Spider-Man. There's this big fight while the Green Goblin tells Spider-Man that he doesn't want to be cured. And the importance here is the evil. The Green Goblin loves it, he revels in it. And it's so much fun watching Willem Dafoe act this out. And this is just, that's why I love him in this scene. It's so like difficult for this, especially this Tom Holland's very cheerful, nice Spider-Man to go up against such a like chaotic, evil villain. And him sweating and grinning and being evil. He doesn't want to just kill Spider-Man. It's like he wants to convince him. This whole movie is worth it just to see this performance. The moment he had his hood on, throwing that grenade, smiling like this crazy man. It's the Green Goblin in like peak performance. So Willem Dafoe is just an amazing actor. I love all of his performances. I just eat it up. Not long ago I saw a clip of him talking about his teeth.
They enrich my life. Everything I bite stays with me a long time.
And I loved every second of it. So anyways, back to the scene itself. As you see, the fight is pretty hard-hitting, with the Goblin beating Spider-Man all the way down to the first floor. It packs a punch, and when they end up on that first floor, Aunt May comes running out, and he shoots his glider into the building, and it hits Aunt May. And it actually kills her. I was a bit surprised there. I thought she would survive, because of kind of the tone of these later Spider-Man movies are very upbeat, like friendly and fun. But here we get like a real tearjerker, and it's no Uncle Ben, but it's not far off, and I really like that they did it. So this scene ends with Spider-Man getting blamed for all the destruction, and SWAT team goes in and starts shooting at him. He runs away, and it's the darkest moment for him in the movie. What he believes is broken. The idea that you can cure evil dies with Aunt May, and Spider-Man has lost his truth. He now wants to kill the Green Goblin. Then we get the other Spider-Man showing up to help, and there is tons of fan service here, and I usually hate that stuff. But here it works because of the whole premise of the film. The multiverse allows them to get away with a lot of fan service without the film becoming too meta. I really liked that part. It was nice to watch the older, more experienced Spider-Man guiding this young one. They convince him to do the right thing, and they do it. They save all the bad guys in the last epic fight, but when the Green Goblin shows up, he taunts Spider-Man again, and Tom Holland's Spider-Man snaps and he goes for the kill. But the OG Spider-Man, the best, stops him at the last moment and guides him back to the truth. We don't kill. The current Spider-Man understands and snaps out of this weak moment and cures the Green Goblin instead. The Green Goblin is the best villain in this movie because he's such an opposite of Spider-Man when he is evil. and it might seem hopeless, and honestly fixing him with a shot of whatever they put into him is a bit easy, but this was what they were going for, and I think it's a great movie, especially considering how difficult it is to be juggling so many villains and heroes. And one way they solved that was by writing that really important midpoint, where the dilemma of the movie comes into place. Good turns evil, challenging Spider-Man's philosophy, and it focuses down on one of the villains. It narrows it down, not trying to have all of them be on top. Like, the rest of them becomes literally beefed up henchmen, and that's for the better. I think all these decisions is what makes the Green Goblin the best villain of this movie. That's it for now, and if you're interested in story structure, I'll be making a video similar to this, just focusing even more on the midpoint of the film. Like, how do you write that? The film I will be doing this with will be The Matrix. Not that one, that one. This one goes a lot more into the writing aspect of it, so subscribe so you don't miss out. Like the video and comment down below what you thought of the movie. Did you like it? Where does it rank for you? For me, it's at least in the top 3 Spider-Man movies. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.